I don't know. Try to send somebody else. I have a friend scout. She sent me some girls today, but she asks $1,000 per girls. I'll send you girls now. Maybe someone will be good for Jay. Name blank, 18 years old, height, measurements, weight, Shenzhen, departure city, somewhere in Russia. You might be like, whoa, what kind of creepy shit are you reading, Muda? Well, I'm just reading creepy shit that was released as part of more Epstein documents, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, today is a huge day, okay? Today is a big day. Today is the day, ladies and gentlemen, that the Epstein files are supposed to drop. Remember a month ago, there was a law that was signed in after, President Donald Trump pretty much had to pull teeth, basically goat see the guy until he was like, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. I'll sign it, okay? I'll sign the bill. All right, there it is. Let's go. And of course, that bill was then signed, and 30 days was granted for the federal agencies of the United States to blank out as much information as you can, redact as much as you needed to, and release the files for everybody in the world to read. Now, I think the Epstein files are important. I'm not a political person by any nature. I have no idea about anything politics related. I'm a fucking fat Indian guy that plays too much RPGs to begin with, okay? You shouldn't be coming to this channel if you want political expertise, okay? There's a lot better channels out there. No, I think the Epstein documents are pretty important. As somebody that is from Kazakhstan, I know for a fact there's got to be some politicians in my countries that were out there fucking little kids, and they were probably connected to Epstein. And I believe that a lot of popular world leaders, celebrities, the elites that run every single aspect of our world were probably interconnected with this guy. And you know what? I'm gonna be completely real with you. I think all their names should be exposed, and whatever may come out of that, I don't have any issues with. Okay. All right, but anyways, ladies and gentlemen, to continue on with this entire story, this has been one of the most complicated, most convoluted releases that I've ever seen. One would think that it would just be as simple as to black out victim names, release it in the public. Every few often you have me agreeing with people that I probably would never agree with. Like this Marjorie Taylor Greene fellow, okay? My goodness, what's in the Epstein files? Release all the files. It's literally the law. You know what? I agree, Miss Green. Why not just release those files? Now, while everyone's waiting for the Fell For It Again award to show up, I love these things. Every time I see this meme, I'm not gonna lie, it brings a joy to my heart. So while a lot of that information is coming out while we're waiting, like for instance, we got a war with the old Venezuelans possibly on the horizon. I don't know. Now, I don't know about the US draft, but I looked into it and I'm kind of freaking out a little bit because they mentioned not just citizens, but immigrants as well, too. I guess that green card excuse wasn't saving yours true. Ooh, I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, to go back to Epstein, I feel like there's a lot of distractions taking place. There's a lot of information that is slowly piecemeal coming out. For instance, somebody ended up getting a map. No, this is not a GTA 6 leak. No, this is not the map to Cayo Perico, even though it looks very, very familiar to it. No, this is actually Epstein's island, and this is apparently, rich people shit, where they're thinking of upgrading their stuff. I want a few new dungeons here. I want some escape rooms there. Some guard posts here, yada, yada, yada. Now, of course, you also had some crossbows. I don't know if the suggestive placement really meant anything, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of no context things being released. So crossbows, but obviously there were other big popular figures too. Like a lot of people have been focusing on, all Donnie G in this case. But I will say that there's also other large billionaires in this process, people like Bill Gates. And when I say people who run our entire world, I think I've noticed that for a lot of channels who are in like sort of that commentary space, sort of the goofy stuff. I was watching Drew Gooden, like I don't usually watch the guy, but I'll see his videos show up. And he made a pretty banger video about like greed and like all the bullshit surrounding this stuff. And I gotta say, when all the funny haha channels are talking about the world, it's serious shit. Dude, I'm a gaming guy. I love talking about video games. Expensive video games have gotten, the trajectory we're going with. It's hard not to talk about this kind of stuff, okay? Especially when some of the world's biggest people are kind of steering the course for everyone. But it also sucks really hard when those people are caught in images like this. So apparently this is Billy G standing next to a woman that has been completely redacted, okay? So I'm assuming this is not, his wife at the time. This is another photo of Billy G just sort of standing there pretty close to another woman who does not appear to be his wife. Now, again, I don't know the context of the situation. I don't know, but she, apparently, from what I've heard, she is of legal age. Both these women, if they are the same people, they are of legal age. which, I'm glad that photo was released. I don't think you could release a photo of somebody that was visibly underage at all or actually knowingly underage in these photo dumps. But yeah, again, Billy G, Donald Trump, I think it was like Stephen Hawking. A lot of these people just kind of knew each other, okay? And when you're in like that rich, elite, powerful world, you have to ask yourself why you make friends like this. Dude, this guy's wife divorced him because she found it fucking creepy. What was going on between this relationship that a marriage that lasted that long had to basically be divorced off? That's crazy shit. And of course, you've also got people from Trump's friends, like his former legal guy, Steve Bannon, sitting across with old Jeffrey. I could only imagine what kind of goofy shit is on this Mac right here. I can only imagine what kind of evil shit is in here. But again, there was more information that kind of came out. One of the images that you probably saw floating around that was a bit disturbing was this dentist chair, right? Now, I don't know why somebody would have a dentist chair in this situation. I don't know if this is used for like maybe massages or some kind of sexual sick pleasure. But I have to ask people how common it is to have these masks placed. I mean, I'll be real with you. This is the kind of shit you would see in Resident Evil, where you walk into a room and there's like a puzzle to solve. You gotta shift the book there, take one mask here, place it there, and then a secret compartment will unlock. Like, homie, is this Epstein's Island or the fucking Spencer Mansion? What are we doing? What are we doing here? What's going on? But of course, let's get a little further into the story. Something else that I found very disturbing. I started this video off with this WhatsApp message. Now, one of the things I kind of wish was, again, a lot of the stuff that's coming out here that we're able to see so far is because the House Oversight Committee has sort of been releasing files, here and there. And initially I thought maybe they were doing this for theatrics' sake. But I think it's actually an intelligent strategy when you want to keep public pressure up, right? More people are going to talk about something as it's being released, because if you just gave out all of your cards and immediately stopped for months, people's interest might actually go away to something else. The distractions might actually work. Nobody is distracted from the Epstein stuff, and nobody should be, because again, when you have people that align themselves with pedophiles operating in offices, like people who align themselves with known human traffickers, those people should be excised from controlling us, right? From making decisions for us. We should not be a group of people led by pedophiles and human traffickers and criminals and cult leaders, right? Like, when you're somebody who is not willing to critically think like this, you're in a cult and you need to stop doing that. But yeah, this message, when I started out, when, again, it came out from this WhatsApp message where they were, talking about $1,000 per girl, sending you a girl. I don't know what's going on here, but, again, from the lack of context provided in this WhatsApp chat, I have to imagine that, I don't know, they're trying to pick up escorts or like, pay for like an overnight thing or like an hourly thing or something. Like, literally, this looks like escort shit, okay? It's crazy stuff. Again, there was more crazy stuff too. Like, apparently these Epstein dumps, I don't even know if I can show you this on YouTube, but there were things like the Trump condom, which apparently came from, again, novelty purchases that you could make on the internet. But again, you also had this weird glove too. Like, I don't know what this glove is about. I think I might have to censor the middle finger because that actually might just be a penis. I might have to censor all the fingers because they look like different dildos. It's an insane fingering pleasure glove. I didn't even know that toys like this existed. I mean, that island had to have some of the most insanely disgusting, decrepit shit. I mean, it did. It verifiably did. But to see photos like this is just chilling shit to watch. Dentist chairs, dildo gloves, condoms of your, I guess, people that you're not friends with. Like, this is... Rich people are disgusting, man, in a lot of ways. But arguably one of the most disgusting images that I saw came out of this was something that I actually had to verify and make sure was real. This is actually what appears to be like a woman's foot. She was low, plain low, in the morning, standing 4 feet 10 in one sock. This quote is actually from a book known as Lolita. Now, this is disgusting because if you actually read this book, ladies and gentlemen, I've never read it. Just a quick Wikipedia summary of this is, again, this is a this is a book written in 1955 by Vladimir Nabokov. And apparently it is about a protagonist, a French literature professor who moves to New England and writes under the pseudonym Humbert Humbert. He details his obsession and victimization of a 12-year-old girl. It's a very... I've never read this book, but apparently Stanley Kubrick made a movie of it where, again, it was severely downplayed. back in 1962, because again, you can't, I assume, film the actions presented in this book. I don't even know how a book like this could even be turned to a movie, but I guess Stanley fucking Kubrick did it. And yeah, that's the thing. So this was one of the most disturbing images that I saw. You have to wonder, like, why they have a girl here, why this quote is written on a foot, and then why, like, you have the book Lolita in the background, and you know the subject matter is dark. What's happening on this island is very dark, right? And of course, another image over here was she was Lola in slacks. So this is where we're at, okay? This is like how disgusting things are getting in this situation, right? Like, we started from, jail footage that the government did a terrible job covering up. And now the images that are slowly being released in the House Oversight Committee, I'm actually kind of afraid to see what comes out of this whole thing. Like, what actually really just gets completely released. But the thing is, I'm imagining that nothing is going to come out, especially today. And if something does come out, it's going to be so heavily redacted. The fact that the government is not releasing every single thing today, a lot of people have questioned, is it them breaking the law? And the thing is, the law doesn't matter to them, okay? Like, it doesn't matter. You have to imagine, right? If you got a president that's willing to go to war without, like, telling the guys over in Congress, it doesn't matter, okay? You can violate the... Dude, the guy doesn't listen to court orders. You think he's going to give a shit about following basic law and procedure? The law only matters if it's willing to be enforced. Imagine you make a law that says you're not allowed to park in this location at this specific time, right? Normally traffic enforcement, right? They come by and they put a fucking ticket on your car and they enforce it that way. But imagine if the enforcement division didn't want to put the ticket on your car. The law doesn't matter then, because the system is not willing to actually enforce the law. You can make a million laws. You can make a million fucking judgments. There is no enforcement mechanism. There is no correction to the enforcement mechanism. Therefore, it doesn't matter if the law exists, right? Now, to my surprise, I wasn't actually expecting this to happen, but yes, the government did in fact release the Epstein files. And these aren't, from what I understand, all of the files. There's still more that need to come out. But on justice.gov/Epstein, you can search up anything that your heart desires inside these files. So I looked up things like clients, for instance, and you can see that they're actually part of different data sets, but you can see that they've titled them EFTA 0008320.pdf. So for instance, if I actually open this up really quickly, it'll take you to this 89-page document, which comes from what appears to be a book. For instance, Living the Good Life Massage for Everybody. Use massage as a reward for children who complete their homework. Offer the family chef a massage. Make the idea of massage non-threatening by offering a simple seated back and neck massage. If someone says no to massage, respect that person's feelings. It's just so weird. I mean, it's like massage books for dummies. That's what it is. So yeah, it's a whole bunch of documents released. And of course, this isn't the only sort of thing that has come out. There's been a lot of other images that have released. For instance, you've got Bill Clinton relaxing what I believe to be with Epstein and apparently an unknown individual. So that's another image that kind of released as well. There's been a lot of other images that have released too, but I'm just going to stick to whatever I've seen in this documentation because in the world of AI, anything is possible. But you can see that the amount of redactions in certain cases, like this document from the federal grand jury, I believe back in 2006, is all but completely blacked out. Actually, this is more recent given the date 2019. But you can see that it's a lot more blacked out than one would expect. So big shout out to the most transparent government imaginable. I mean, good luck trying to figure out what the fuck is going on in this document. But of course, we can look further into it. And for instance, if I look up things like Trump, right, over here, you can see that there's two documentations over here. So if I open this up, you can see that these are just from what appears to be evidence or like, I don't know, I guess some stationary items. Based on the description over here, this is Barron's D80 number, TOEFL Fire and Fury inside the Trump White House. So this is just, again, a cataloging of whatever we've seen over here. So TOEFL, Fire and Fury, yada, yada, yada. And of course, another point over here is I think they're just cataloging every book that's sort of spotted in this image. And that's pretty much where it kind of ends. Now, if we look up things like Gates, right, you can see that, yeah, again, it just goes with Gates over here. But if I type in Bill Gates, The search doesn't provide that. And I think maybe the search is actually getting fixed up. It was a requirement for these document disclosures, but I think just considering the website is so new and it's still requiring people some time to wait before they get in, it's not exactly 100% all the way there. So if I type in Bill Clinton, don't really see anything. If I type in Donald Trump entirely, I don't see anything. So maybe if I type in like one word, you can see, yeah, so employee name Donald Poland. Maybe it doesn't actually do multiple terms. So again, yeah, the whole files, or not the whole files, but an amount of files have been released. Gigabytes, I think somewhere around 4.5 have been coming out. So if you want to look through this and start piecing through, you can. A lot of, I assume, journalists, a lot of people interested in this are doing it. So actually a good thing that there's some disclosure. Obviously, if you go back to certain documents like this, I think that what people are really interested in, we'll find this out in the next few days, how much of this stuff is actually blacked out, right? How much of this is actually transparent versus nonsense that nobody really cared about in these documents to begin with. And again, ultimately, at the end of the day with these Epstein files, they're going to get so heavily blacked out and redacted because, look, you can't. Here's the real black pill about this situation, right? Unless you're willing to have some level of a revolution, which is an uncomfortable like thing for people to grasp, right? Like we're talking French Revolution type shit. You know when they had guillotines out and they were just fucking getting rid of the big guys? Unless that kind of stuff happens, the people in power are never going to let themselves get exposed. Therefore, these documents, if they do release today, maybe the next hour, maybe fucking in the next few weeks, will not contain, I think, the information anybody really cares about. I think, honestly, there is everyone is involved in this Epstein stuff, no matter what side you're on. Okay, no matter where you are, everyone is involved. Everybody in the elite is involved with some sick, deplorable shit. And even if you're not doing sick shit out there, you were involved financially with a guy that everyone had no reason not to be a bit weary of. So I would say that in a way, everyone is to an extent very guilty in this situation, right? I'm not the big fan of guilt by association, but when it comes to a guy like this, right, it's like, if you're a multi-billionaire, right, you don't want to be associated to this guy. And there's plenty of billionaires that don't like Epstein and were never affiliated with him to begin with. But the people that were, right, those people are some of the most powerful individuals in the world. You know they're not going to want their names out there. And ultimately, the end of this and end of the day, unless people raise a serious stink when these files release, and we all know they're going to be heavily redacted, nothing is really going to change. But ladies and gentlemen, some of the weirdest shit out there. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.